Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to another episode of Media Matters by Anfield Index. The season is drawing to a close. It's crazy to say it is the last week, the last game, the title lift on Sunday, and yet off the field, there's about 80 million things going on. And here to walk through it all with me is the well-known David Lynch. David, it's just busy across the board right now, isn't it?
Yeah, which is nice, I guess. Loads to look forward to in terms of the title lift and kind of these, three of the four parties out the way now, and then the big ones coming on Sunday, and it's all ramping up in the transfer market as well. So looks like you're going to be in for a much busier summer, which is exciting, and loads to talk about around that. So that's great. And yeah, it's just a good time for Liverpool, isn't it? I know they can't win a game anymore, which is a consequence of wrapping the league up early, but yeah, it's all really positive because if you're champions and you're going into a summer where the squad's going to really be strengthened well, then it's an exciting time for Liverpool supporters, I'd say.
Yeah, and the travelling cop were in fine voice last night at the Amex. It was the atmosphere may be better than the game, but did it really matter? I'm not sure it did too much. But we should talk about a few things that we got from last night. I mean, there's limited analysis you can do of it, but what were your thoughts on the overall performance and what we served up last night?
Yeah, I thought not too bad, really, considering kind of the levels of motivation for both sides. I mean, Liverpool's preparations for the game were kind of, being on holiday, that manager and players being away, and Brighton were obviously trying their best to get a result. I think you kind of saw what the difference in what it meant in the celebrations from Brighton, really, at the end of the game. Hinshaw with his goal, and then Hurtzler at full time as well. For them, it's an opportunity to get into Europe still, isn't it? I know certain things have got to happen and they need a bit of luck for it to fall for them, but they were obviously very, very committed to winning the game. Whereas, like I said, Liverpool have basically been on an extended holiday, haven't they, since they won the title? So to make it a relatively even game, I thought. I mean, I know Brighton take 25 shots, but a lot from outside the box there, and Liverpool themselves manage 18 shots. XG is pretty even. Liverpool have 3 big chances, Brighton 2. And I think that kind of tallied with what we saw, really. I thought Brighton were good, dominated stage of the game, but I thought Liverpool kept creating chances all the way through. And if it had ended in a draw, I don't think that would have been unfair. And like I say, to go to Brighton, who are a very good side, and come away feeling like that when that Liverpool are not throwing everything on the line, are they, or completely committed to getting a result, then I actually don't think it's a bad performance in that context, to be honest.
No, and it did have the feeling, especially as the game went on, you have a go, we'll have a go, basketball style a little bit. But it made it entertaining on a Monday night. And we should talk about a few players. He's been honest, he didn't mean it, but it is an interesting hit from Szoboszlai. And probably the better question is, what did you think about his performance from a deeper number 8 position?
Yeah, I quite liked it, to be honest. I mean, obviously, you kind of take the goal out of it because he, like you say, he didn't mean it, and it's just one of those things, and you don't want to kind of judge the performance solely on that anyway. But I just thought it was one of the kind of more interesting aspects of the match, really. You see immediately what he can bring in that role when he pings that ball out to Bradley for the first goal. Absolutely brilliant. And then kind of generally his performance, some things to like, maybe some things not. I mean, he doesn't win a single tackle out of 4 attempts, which is interesting, but that's not really generally him either. He would tend to win more than that. I just think that was kind of, maybe that's a little bit of a freakish thing that's gone against him, and wins 5 out of 10 ground duels, which is not too bad at all. We know he's combative in there and gets about. He would generally have higher tackle stats, so he got stuck in. Absolutely, which suits him. Used his engine really well. Gets passes into the final third, which again is something he can do when he's in a deeper role. So we saw that aspect of his game. And I think when he's kind of not in that really advanced position where sometimes you think he just lacks a little bit of craft, doesn't he? He's not like really cute, like a Raquelme type or anything in the number 10 position. You take that out of his game when he's in the number 8 and just a little deeper. And he is, he said to Slot, didn't he, that he's more suited to that role. And I maybe tend to agree. And so, it's interesting. We don't exactly know how this summer is going to pan out for Liverpool, really, and exactly what they're going to end up with. But it's obviously something the manager wanted to take a look at for a specific reason, whether that's because maybe there's a number 10 that they want to fit into that position more frequently next season. Maybe it's, they just want to make Szoboszlai part of that deeper rotation in the rotation, in the deeper positions, because it might suit him better. It's just something that was worth having a look at. And I thought, not perfect, but I thought some decent signs from him in there, and it could actually really suit him. So we'll see whether we see a bit more of that next season.
And it was a cracking ball for the opening goal, where he puts it right across the pitch to Salah, who lays it off to Conor Bradley. And probably that's the one that it's right to talk about, Conor Bradley, because last night, did we almost see the whole range of what Conor Bradley is, as in absolutely brilliant assist, no two ways about it, but maybe defending for the first goal for Brighton a little bit suspect?
Yeah, I think probably one of those errors that you probably put down to a little bit of an inexperience, which again, it's why it's important maybe to give him as many games as possible in this run-in. And obviously, I still think, it's nothing we've never seen Trent or Randy Robertson do, just kind of switching off to the run inside and not tracking it. But it's a good learning experience for him. And I mean, I know for a fact that that'll be one that Slot pulls out and has a look at with the coaches, because they do a lot of video analysis. He will be getting highlighted about that one. But yeah, decent learning opportunity. I thought generally, he does defend well, doesn't he? We're not worried about him getting skinned constantly or anything like that. He is a good one-on-one defender. It's maybe just that aspect he's got to work on, but he's generally very solid down that side. And then he's so good going forward as well. I mean, that was brilliant, wasn't it? Obviously the ball from Salah is fantastic. The ball from Szoboszlai is fantastic as well. But just the composure he shows in that moment through the legs, and then that extra touch he takes just kills another man, and then passing the ball and straight in. And I honestly, I can't rave about this kid enough. I think he's phenomenal. And I think, I saw a report this week that says that regardless of the signings that's going to be made there, that he should be first choice in next season. And I think you cannot disregard a player of that quality when they come to your academy. He's phenomenal. Even if he can stay fit, he has to start an awful lot of games for me next season. I really, really like Conor Bradley, and I thought, just the sheer quality. In fact, there's a statistic I saw earlier as well, which I just brought up there, that he's got the best minutes per assist ratio of any player who's made a certain amount of who's made 10 plus assists. So he's getting one every 282 minutes. So, to me, that just speaks to his quality, and I think he's a brilliant player, and we're going to see even more of him in the coming seasons.
We will. It feels like it'll be the summer for 84. We'll have to see what happens there. And another player that was on the end of Conor Bradley's assist, Harvey Elliott, and it almost has a similar tone. Did we see the best of Harvey Elliott, and he gets a goal and he gets an assist, but out of possession? There was struggles last night, wasn't there?
Yeah, he's just never going to be a great duel winner, is he? Because he's just the physical shortcomings that are there, and there's not a lot you can do about that when you're up against Brighton midfield. Generally through, it's got good duel winners, good physicality as well, and when he comes up against that, he struggles. But we know, what I liked about this performance and what was really good was that, he didn't show the best of himself in possession at Chelsea, and that was really disappointing for me, because I know he's got that quality there, but he did in this game. I think, obviously a goal and assist is not too bad for a number 10, is it at all? But I think he creates 4 chances, 3 shots as well. So, doing all the right things really to get yourself assists and goals. And yeah, he was a big part of Liverpool's play going forward, and his comments after were interesting, weren't they? In terms of what that means for him going forward, it doesn't look great. But I mean, I think that's a real shame, because I think there's a real player there. But I guess if the recruitment staff and the manager don't think that the weaknesses can be covered up sufficiently, or that they're too busy mitigating for others' weaknesses, e.g., McAllister's not the tallest, for example. If you put him and Harvey in the same team, that becomes a problem. Then maybe that's part of the thinking that he's not going to get loads more opportunities next season. But I mean, if there's other clubs looking at him, which I know for a fact there are other clubs looking at him, they've got to see the quality he's got. He's a very, very good young player, and I mean, he is still so young. He's 22, can get even better. I just think he's going to go on. If it's not at Liverpool, he's going to go on and have a very, very good career.
Yeah, and given the due, the goal and assist last night, but whatever happens, he had an impact. And one player that it'll get ignored because 3 went in his goal, but Alisson Becker was probably man of the match again last night, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's so good, isn't he? He's absolutely ridiculous, really, some of the saves he made. And, Brighton did have 25 shots, which is crazy. So you need your goalkeeper to play well when that's the case. I think 12 on target, maybe. And a few of those from outside the box and got little nicks. But he did make a couple of really good saves in there as well from one-on-one situations. And, yeah, there's absolutely no doubt over how good he is. And, I mean, it's funny, really, because we were talking a few months ago when maybe his form wasn't the greatest when he first came back, and maybe there was talk about his kind of XG versus his actual goals prevented kind of going on a slight slide recently. But I think he's roared back into form in the last part of this season. And one thing I think we did say would be ideal for next season, because we expect Kelleher to go, is that Alisson sticks around and you have Mamardashvili at least for one season to just be the number 2 and get used to things and really fit himself in. So, that would be the hope, because at the moment, Alisson is quite clearly, isn't he, the best goalkeeper in the world. And another game yesterday where he shows that, and more proof that, as long as he's happy, and I believe that to be the case, then, he should stick around for another season at the very least. And that's always really good news for Liverpool.
Yeah, it's crazy to say we shipped 3, but he was absolutely brilliant last night. And one player, I mean, we know Mo Salah's chasing records. That's all he's really got left to chase now. He will be absolutely haunted by that miss yesterday, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it's just not him either, is it? Like he's very. He must have been watching Darwin in training a little bit, but it's very, very surprising that he missed it. I mean, he'll probably be more. I mean, he would have loved to score, but he'd probably be more fuming that he cannot seem to get an assist in these last few games. It's just not happening for him, which is unfortunate. But yeah, a poor miss for him. And he's having a kind of quiet end to the season, isn't he? But I mean, if anyone's earned that, this guy is, I don't see single-handedly taking Liverpool to the title, because you don't want to do down what everybody else has done. But he's been the key man in all of this, really. And the fact that Liverpool streaked away from everybody else because they had a forward who's performing at a level that nobody else had. So, you can forgive him one of these from time to time, I guess. But it rarely ever happens.
And, we'll be giving it everything on Palace to try and get as many records as he can. And a forward that was alongside him last night, Federico Chiesa. I see the mixed reactions on social media with him, because people, and I get this, he plays a brilliant pass for Salah. It was sensational, and that was a good moment. But at the same time, I'm watching this, and I just thought it just looked a bit too physical and fast for him at times. What did you think about him last night?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, you don't want to be too harsh, because it's not surprising when he comes in for his first Premier League start of the season at this point of the season that he's not, absolutely flying and playing well. So it wasn't really a big surprise, and you don't want to judge him too harshly. But clearly, I mean, the fact he hasn't started for so long, it's obviously down to what's going on in training. He's obviously kind of looking at this similar level and not quite getting there. So, and it just was not a great performance. I think the numbers kind of embedded in my head from last night's YouTube video, but I think 12 touches, 5 passes, 1 shot, lost 7 out of 8 duels. So they're not fantastic numbers, are they, really, particularly if you're coming in and you need to impress. And I just think it's quite obvious, despite, the manager may say that, he might have a chance for next season, but I don't believe him, if I'm honest. I just, Chiesa's not going to want to stick around and sit on the bench for another season when there will be interest in him from Italy. And clearly Slot is not that fussed about using him at all. So I just think it's one of those, it was an opportunistic signing that hasn't worked out. It was worth a punt. Liverpool will probably make the money back, and everyone shakes hands and he goes, and with a Premier League winners medal, and he goes as well, very much liked by everyone who's at Liverpool, because he's, everyone kind of, it's not a personal problem. Let's say that. He's a good guy who has got his head down and worked hard, but it just, unfortunately for him, hasn't worked out. And that can happen in football.
Yeah, and I think most people are expecting the same thing this summer, but we'll have to see. And the final one around, team selection and what Arne Slot gave away, because the real Cal Jones there asked about Jota injured or left out. And I suppose the second part of that, because it's right to talk about Jota, but Alexis McAllister in the news, he won't play a single minute to have a rest into next season. So it's worth asking you about those two players.
Yeah, McAllister out for the season. What a blow that is. But yeah, he obviously won't be playing in the Crystal Palace game. By the sounds of things, it sounds like he's been playing with something, a little something. He's been kind of managing through, which, what a warrior to do that. And footballers do this a lot, by the way. It's they're pretty incredible, really, for putting themselves on the pitch when others maybe wouldn't. So fair play to him for that, and a good idea to give him a rest, because I think he's got some internationals over the summer. But yeah, give this guy, he's put everything into this season, hasn't he? And his work rate's been incredible. So, and he's been running to the ground a little bit. So great to see he's getting a little bit of an early holiday in and some relaxation time, because he's bloody earned it, no doubt about that. And with Jota, I saw the Echo reporting, and I wasn't down there at Brighton yesterday, so obviously I can't stand this up personally, but they will have checked this. So suggesting that it wasn't an injury again, he was maybe rested. So again, not a bad idea really. So yeah, it's good that these choices can be made, because there's just nothing riding on the games whatsoever.
Yeah, no risk at all. And I know you've mentioned it because people want to see us win. I get that, even though it doesn't mean anything. You saw what the travelling cop thought of the whole thing last night. But resting players for next season, there should be a benefit to that, shouldn't there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the thing. It's not necessarily the resting even for McAllister now or whatever. It's more kind of the fact that they're just spending time on holiday every week. I mean, it's such a benefit, in comparison to training. They have basically. So what would usually happen is kind of the players would go away at the end of the season and get 3 weeks holiday, then they come back for pre-season. Liverpool have turned that into 4, 5, 6, really, because they won the league so early. So that will all help, like, recharge the batteries. I mean, they're going to be roaring into pre-season, and particularly when you consider Manchester City have got to go in the Club World Cup. That, horrendous thought for them. International tournament coming at the end of next season as well. It's going to be helpful for Liverpool, and I think it might be helpful to the way that they start next season as well. So that's really, really handy for Liverpool, because if they can make a kind of similar start to the one they did this year, that was exactly what won them the league, basically. So they're going to have a bit more freshness, I'd suspect, than some of the title rivals. And yeah, that's one of the huge benefits of winning the league early. And I wrote a piece on Substack absolutely ages ago about Slot being big on days off, and he's gone into overdrive on that front since the league was won. But it's a sensible move. And you look at the injury record that Liverpool have had this season compared to the one prior, and the availability generally has been very, very good. And it's obviously down to the fact that he respects that having time off is massive.
Yeah, who'd have thought that weeks in Ibiza and Dubai could benefit in the long run? But we'll see what happens next season.